Well, back at it again, trying to make a massive Ford 4-liter inline 6-cylinder fit into a W203 body. As you can see, the engine is in there, or well, most of it, and the best part of it is the hood even closes without hitting the engine. It's close, but that'll work. In the previous video, I pulled this Ford INTECH powerhouse out of the off-road AU Falcon and had to see how it looks in the W203 engine bay. This engine is huge. Since then, I spent a hot minute wrapping my head around this whole idea, but I'm about 90% sure I can make this work without cutting into the hood again. I made that mistake before. However, once I know this will work, I would really like to get this fixed up and maybe paint the car, so stay tuned for that. Anyway, back to the task at hand. Since you last saw the engine, well, a couple of things have happened. Firstly, I had to make this bracket that bolts up to one of the intake ports, just because most of the weight is being picked up over there because of the gearbox and all that, so I wanted to make that stronger. The one pickup point wasn't going to do, and that was kind of sketchy, so I just added another one over there to make it a bit less sketchy. Then I also removed the AC compressor because, well, race car won't be needing that. I also removed the alternator as well as the power steering pump, and then as you can see, I already got that piece of the cross member cut out, and then I also removed the oil pan and just have the engine resting on that piece of wood. The engine does need to move a little bit to that side, but I'm not too worried about that now. I just wanted to get started with some measuring and checking a few things out, but this has to be one of the most unique oil pans I've ever seen. It doesn't only bolt up to the block with all these, but it also has 9 bolts on the side, so that's kind of new. So building a new oil pan for the engine is kind of out of the question. It's going to be like trying to reinvent the wheel, so I'm going to modify this one to fit. So I only have one shot at this and I can't mess this up, otherwise I'm kind of screwed. But luckily not much needs to happen for this to work. So just imagine for a second that this is the front of the engine and this is the back side on the gearbox, and the steering rack is right in this area over here. So I already measured out from the bottom of the block to the steering rack is about 120 millimeters. Then the thickness over here of the oil pan is around 110 millimeters. So I want to cut right on that line over there, and then using that hole as a reference, I need to cut down over here somewhere and then remove this piece and obviously relocate the oil drain plug. I'm just going to get it underneath. I think that's going to be the easiest. I'll also need to modify the oil pickup for the oil pump quite a lot, but I'll just show you that when I get to it. And in theory, this should work, but I won't know until I do it. So I guess let's get into it. Maybe try hitting it with your purse. Now, after cleaning up the oil pan and double checking my measurements, I pulled out the engine once again to move on to the next step. which is a slight adjustment to the oil pickup so that it sits a bit deeper inside the oil pan. This is what I ended up with, and it went a lot easier than I thought it would. So this is ready to go back onto the oil pump, and it should work perfect once we close everything up. Now, as you can see, this is a slight change of scenery. I will be finishing up the oil pan in here because there are a few parts in the main workshop that I don't want to get grinder dust all over. This place is kind of a vibe since I got the AU Falcon's stereo system wired up in here. But onto the last steps of closing up this window. So I already got some cardboard templates cut out. I have the one over here and then one over there. So I need to transfer these to aluminium. I need to make a little hole over there. That's going to be for the oil drain plug. I will also be adding an oil return. Now, I'm not going to say what it's for, but maybe in the future this will come in handy. If you know, you know. So I'm going to get started on the bottom piece first because it is going to have a slight bend like a V shape in it, and then we'll use that to get the template made for this piece, weld everything up, and we should be good to go. Let's get this done.
So high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Keep the sky on your mind. Flying, get on board. We're soaring on top of the world. Flying, get on board. We're soaring on top of the world.
Now, I did not expect the oil pan to turn out this good. I mean, my past experience with aluminium welding has only disappointed, and this being cast aluminium just makes it 10 times worse to weld. So I'm really happy on how that turned out. And then I also just have the oil drain at the bottom and not on the side, because that's where the steering rack is. I just freed up some space over there. Now I want to put something there again. So just about ready to get everything put back together again. I'm going to get started on the oil pickup, seal it up and give the bolt some Loctite. And then while I do that, I am going to put some water in the oil pan to see if we have any leaks. So I'm not going to fill it up all the way, and I do have the oil drain sealed up with some gasket maker. So let's fill this up about halfway, and then we'll get started getting the oil pickup back on there. And then once we're done with that, we can start with the oil pan and get that back onto the engine. Oh, we already have a leak. Damn. Well, a couple of leaks. What the hell? So the oil pan ended up leaking in 3 different places, so I had to fix that up before we could move on. Round 2 of testing looked more promising and everything seems to be sealed up. So I left it like that for a couple of minutes and moved on to the oil pickup. So I gave that some RTV and bolted it up to the oil pump. Then I just got the oil pan gasket in place and it was time to close it up for the final time. Now my expectation of this actually working has gone from 90% to about 97% now that we have the oil pan all finished up and the engine in the car. We do have some extra space between the hood and the engine, but I do need to lift up the engine a bit when I build the engine mount, because it's just laying on the oil pan at the moment. All in all, not a bad way to end off the video, because it is like freaking 35 degrees outside today, I think. So I'd rather be finger fucked by a cow than to be out here working. Can't be saying that. So I'm gonna go get this video edited. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.